what's happening to our soul, what's happening to your soul, and are there influences trying to steal your soul?
Welcome to So-Called Satanism, a podcast about true crime and the satanic panic, essentially. My name is Joe Gibbs, and with me is,
My name is Melanie Jacobs.
and we're gonna take you on a little
We're gonna take you on a little journey right here.
a little satanic journey down the true crime rabbit hole of whatever. Before we do this, if you want to subscribe or leave a fucking 5-star on the whatever you're listening to on, yeah, that's
A
really
like, a follow, or something.
yeah, something. We got all the social medias at So-Called Satanism on everything except for Twitter, which is what I name it, SC Satanism. Yeah, at SC
I honestly
Satanism.
don't remember.
Yeah, it was SC Satanism. Because for some reason Twitter only allows 15 characters for your username, and this was 16 characters. So
That I did not know.
so yeah, it was almost So-Called Satan, but then I was like, that's kind of weird. So
I feel like it sounds kind of cool though.
So-Called Satan. Yeah, that's actually pretty
Yeah.
cool. Maybe we'll switch that. But anyway, this case is pretty sad. Like, I guess every case we'll cover is sad, but this case, like, I don't know, it stings. It's a stinger.
I only skimmed through it, so I don't know a whole lot about it. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to hear.
And I'm realizing right now that I may have forgot to look up how to pronounce their last name. So, this might be offensive.
Uh-oh. Just, make sure
Lililid.
Yeah.
Lililid?
Lilylid?
Lilylid. I like Lilylid
Is
better.
it Lilylid?
We're gonna go with Lilylid because it like flows off my tongue better.
What if you're saying it wrong the whole entire time?
Oh my god. Well, that creates more comments. So
Yeah, you're right.
if I'm wrong,
Negative attention is still attention.
if I'm wrong, please comment. So yeah, the main wow, I'm really fucking stumbling over words there. This podcast is named about satanic panic headlines. That's what I was trying to get out of my fucking mouth.
That's okay. I feel you.
Yeah. So-Called Satanism is like, it's so-called Satanism, like, because
Most of the time, it's really not.
it's never, it fucking like never is.
It's over dramatic.
And in this case, we're gonna see a little bit of that shit. So anything you want to say before we get into this, or you just want to dive in?
I'm ready to just dive right in
Yeah,
there.
I think I am too. Oh my god, I just realized I didn't learn how to fucking pronounce the guy's first name either.
What is it?
I think it's Vidar. Vidar?
How do you spell it? What's the spelling?
Vidar. Vidar. Vidar, right? Vidar?
Vidar.
It's probably Vidar.
I don't know.
We're going to go with Vidar Lilylid.
Should I look up a translation real quick?
Nah, we're good. Vidar Lilylid.
Sure?
Yeah, I
Alright.
like the sound of Vidar anyway. I think it sounds tough.
Sounds a little spicy.
It does sound spicy as fuck. So we got Vidar Lilylid. He's a man from... Fuck! Another pronunciation? God, why do I do this so bad?
What the fuck?
I write down, like, I do my notes, and I'm like, I read a word in my head, and I'm like, yeah, that's the word. But then I'm like, Bergen, Norway. Is it Bergen? Is it Bergen? We're going with, he's a man from Bergen, Norway, who had moved to the U.S. in 1989. In 1989, I think I got that wrong, but in 1989, he married the love of his life in Miami, who he met in Miami, Delfina Zelaya. Fuck. She was a first-generation Honduran American who was from New York City. And these two were part of a cult. Which it is said that's how they met. So the cult they were part of is they were Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh wow, that's a big cult. I know you. You post about them all the time.
Yeah,
and I love it.
yeah. So I say that we'll talk about it a little more, but
I think they're kind of scary.
It's kind of a cult,
Sorry.
but it's okay. There was a Facebook post that they made this year where that said like, we are not a cult or something like that. And everybody's
You were
like,
like, that sounds like something a cult would say.
yeah, what a cult? That's exactly what a cult would say. They'd be like, we're not a cult. It's like, I don't know one cult that ever said, we're a cult. Welcome to
Right. I mean,
Jonestown.
they
This is a
are.
cult. So yeah, oh God, I'm gonna say it different every time. Vidar, Vidar worked as a bellman at the Holiday Inn. And by 1997, where the story takes place, they had 2 children, 6-year-old Tabitha and 2-year-old Peter. So every year, Jehovah's Witnesses hold a convention throughout the U.S. In 1997, this was called Faith in God's Word. It's a 3-day convention usually, and they teach spiritual lessons um, about the fucking religion. And
Sounds
they
very fun. Sounds like something we would really enjoy together.
like 3 fucking days of this shit, 3 8-hour days. But they teach how to apply Bible principles in real life. Whatever. But it's a
Too
9 to
much.
5, yeah, 9 to 5 everyday convention, and they
Oh,
just
so
read
it's
from
like
the
a work
Bible.
shift?
Yes, it's literally a work shift. They have music videos that they play during it. They do baptisms. Um,
Wow.
so I was doing my research and I sent this to you. I posted it on my Snapchat story and my TikTok, but
Oh, the
I
song.
I started getting in.
I was laying in bed watching it, and Aaron was like, "What the fuck are you listening to?" And that because it came up
Oh,
really loud when I was listening to it, and he was like, "Oh my god."
yep. So I was like playing because like they had like it was like a karaoke version that they like. I looked at their schedule and they had a karaoke version of the song they were doing. So I clicked on it and I was like, this is interesting. And then you can play the song and then sing along with it. And I was like, for some reason my brain just started singing the song. And then I was like, it'd be funny if you played a rap beat and then rapped the Jehovah's Witness song. So I did that. Um, and then I was like, why the fuck am I doing this on a Sunday night or whatever the fuck? It
That's
might
the
have been
perfect day to do that.
yeah, Sunday night. I'm rapping
Yeah,
Jehovah's
you planned
Witness
that out
jargon.
perfectly.
I was feeling God in my veins, and it was just like, wow,
You're feeling lit that
I
night
was
because
feeling
you said a
great.
lot.
Jehovah. Um, yeah. So I don't know what the deal was, but for some reason they hooked me. It was a catchy song. So yeah. I'm actually pretty unfamiliar with them as a cult, a religion. I just know.
Stop.
It's funny. I wrote that down exactly like that.
Oh my god, you just said it so smoothly
I
too.
know.
That was smooth.
I know. I'm really fucking good at
That was
this.
nice.
Yeah.
That was nice.
They go door to door and spread their faith, right? That's like what you know about Jehovah's Witnesses. They knock on your
They're like
door and like,
door-to-door salesmen.
yeah, they're door to door Jesus salesmen.
Yep.
Do you have a moment to speak about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? I don't know what
Well,
that
they send
accent
letters
was.
in the mail now too.
Do they?
Yeah, I got one.
Oh,
I
that's.
thought I sent it to
Oh yeah,
you.
you did. You did. I remember that
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, ooh.
Like, no, no thanks.
Like I might
To
not
the
be doing
trash you
this.
go.
uh, but yeah, so the reason they do that is they believe Jesus has ordered them to spread the word. In the Bible, at one point, he said, "Go make disciples of all the nations." So the whole thing is like, yeah, make them disciples. That's why they're like so pushy with that. They feel like it's their duty. They have like graphs and like maps that say whose responsibility is for this area and this area. It's like a whole fucking
Wow.
system. Yeah. But I never really understood the whole spreading of religion thing with any religion. Like it just, I don't like that. It's like, I understand if somebody's looking for, like, if you're looking for a reason to believe or whatever, like, and you go seek that out, that's totally fine. But it feels weird, like going door to door and being like, yeah, hey, you wanna join our religion?
I would not answer the door.
I never they came out. I lived in the middle of fucking nowhere, and they would come out to our house sometimes. Like I lived 10
Really?
miles in the country, and they'd
Oh
pull in
my
our driveway
god.
and walk up to our door. I'm like, I I'm sorry, no. I remember I think my grandma invited them in once and like talked to him.
Oh no,
Man,
grandma.
grandma, come on. But I guess I maybe if they come to my house now, I will I'll do an interview with them. I'll be like, "Hey, can I record this conversation?" That'd be pretty
What would
good
you even
content.
ask him?
I'd be like,
Like,
"What's it like?"
what's it like in the cult?
Oh,
How the
excuse me.
cult life be?
What is your religion like?
What's it like in the day of a life of cult?
Yeah. um. So yeah, there's some weird things about Jehovah's Witnesses. So for starters, their Bible is like their own translation. They don't believe Jesus is equal to God, so they don't celebrate Christmas or Easter. They don't celebrate any holidays. That's like a sin to their religion. Cult.
That's
Religion,
interesting. I
shit.
didn't know that.
Um, they don't believe in blood transfusions. Like they don't believe if you need blood that you can get blood from somebody else. That's like a like
Even if it's like a life-saving measure.
yeah, uh-huh.
Oh,
I read there was like a in like medical like journals, like there was like articles about this. Like, hey, like you gotta make sure like if they refuse blood transfusions, like that's like a thing. There was like a lawsuit, I think, where a doctor is being sued over it or some shit.
really?
So
So they're like anti-science?
yeah, but it seems like it's only like their religion says like do whatever you can to prolong your life, just not blood transfusions, basically, I guess. So I want to talk about the big fucked up thing that I read about Jehovah's Witnesses. And this is like pretty much the sole thing to me that makes it feel like a cult. Um, and that's disfellowshipping. It's when someone commits a serious sin, the congregation shuns them. So I wrote down some of the serious sins if you're interested.
I'm ready.
Abortion, obviously. This is a fun one. Anal or oral sex. So no
Wow.
no blowjobs for your husband.
Damn it.
So damn it. Celebrating birthdays.
What?
Yeah. Boxing. Celebrating holidays. Homosexual activity.
Oh, fuck.
In the same breath, they say manslaughter and murder. Hardcore
Okay.
porn. And the
What is
worst.
considered hardcore porn though to them? Like, if oral sex is like a sin, like what?
Yeah. Oh my God. That's actually a really good
Can you
point.
imagine?
Yeah. It's got to be like not. Yeah. Yeah. The worst sin of all, though, voting in elections. Which thank
Oh.
fucking Christ, because you know who they would vote for if they could.
Oh, I know. I'm glad they don't vote then.
Yeah, me too. But regardless, this excommunication practice puts Jehovah's Witnesses in a problematic religion category to me. Any religion that expects a parent to treat their child like they're dead is not really a religion to me. Like, life's complicated. Like, say you're completely a Jehovah's Witness, you're all for it. Like, life's really complicated, and if somebody like falls out of it or does some fuck shit, I feel like it's a really shitty thing to do to like excommunicate them. Or like, what if they're going through something? What if they, I don't know.
Well, they probably don't believe in mental health, so it's not like it
Right.
doesn't exist in their world.
I'm sure that's exactly what the fuck's happening here.
That's what some people think, though.
I know it's bizarre. Like,
Yes.
this podcast is getting recorded like 3 days late because I had a severe panic attack over the weekend that like caused me to not like be able to. Oh my God, my cat's like searching for something around here. I hope there's not a mouse down here.
Well, you better find whatever she's looking for.
Fuck. Anyway, uh, yeah. So like mental health is real. Obviously, it's debilitating. We're both on the same page there.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get back to the actual story now that I gave you a little pointless background on Jehovah's Witnesses.
On what cult?
Religion, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So April 6th, 1997. As you would expect, from my telling of the story, Vidar and his family spent the weekend at a Jehovah's Witness convention in Johnson City, Tennessee. And they were on their way home to Powell, Tennessee, which I think is right next to Knoxville. It's like an hour and 45-minute drive. So driving with a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old isn't the easiest thing, you know? So they make they stop at a rest stop. They're going to go to the bathroom. Peter needs some time outside of the car. So, oh God, is it Delphina? Delphina. I was going to say like Delphine, which is close. Delphina takes Tabitha into the bathroom, and Peter Vidar takes Peter, and he's trying to get him to chill out, because he's in the car. He's like, fuck this bullshit. I don't want to be in this car anymore. So they stop at the rest stop along Interstate 81 outside of Baileyton, Tennessee. So here's where I'm going to introduce our next set of characters to the story. 6 young adults from Pikeville, Kentucky. And this is going to be a lot of background information. Just fucking strap in. Get ready for this fun shit. So first we got Natasha Cornett. She's 18.
Cornett?
Yep, Cornett. Natasha Cornett. Tasha, get back to the fuck corn. She's born in Betsy Lane, Kentucky. She had a poor upbringing, and she was born from her mother cheating on her husband. So, great starts. Natasha dropped out of school at 9th grade. She never had a job, but she did enjoy partaking in alcohol, heroin, ecstasy, and cocaine. So she knows how to fucking party, at least. At 14, she was arrested for forgery after stealing a box of checks. I believe she was trying to, she was having her boyfriend take the checks at the movie store he worked at or some shit.
Interesting.
Around the age of 14, she would be arrested for assaulting her mother. At 17, she got married to a man named Steve Cornett. But that ended after about 10 months. Which I guess she kept his last name, which is kind of weird. So she moved to New Orleans after this divorce, and she panhandled on the street with a girlfriend of hers, where she was sexually assaulted. And this woman put a little trigger warning for sexual assault, the R word. So skip 15 seconds ahead if that's something you're sensitive to. So she was gang sexually assaulted. I don't like to say the R word. Feels weird. But she was gang that by 5 men, and during the attack, she tried to not be there, is what she said. So she disassociated, which is a fucking very normal thing to disassociate during a terrible situation like that. But she believed that she had out of body experiences, and people try to make a connection between those two things, if that makes sense. She tried not to be there. So
right.
That's a normal reaction to being assaulted. She said she had been hearing voices since the age of 2. She said spirits or demons would speak to her and predict the future and tell her to kill herself. She said spirits or demons, right? That falls under the satanic panic category to me, because societally, demons and spirits are a religious negative, so
right.
She's experiencing these negative voices, so in her head that correlates to demons. So I don't think it's the actual devil. Spoiler alert.
No.
Yeah, so she would also self-harm, and she had overdosed before on sleeping pills, lithium, and vodka. So we're gonna, that's a pretty fucked cocktail. Yeah. So not a good life for her. So now we're going to jump to Edward Dean Mullins. He goes by Dean, his middle name. He was 19 and born in Harold, Kentucky. In 12th grade, he dropped out, but he was trying to get his GED at the time of the story. He had a job at a grocery store. And I believe at this point in the story, Dean was in a relationship with Natasha. It was kind of up in the air. It was I don't know. It was kind of explained strange. But I believe they were in a relationship together. He planned on marrying her. He fucking loved her or whatever. He'd been a decent kid until meeting her, and that's what people said his grades started slipping.
Changing.
Which is normal. You fucking get in a relationship and you I don't know. It's not a crazy negative.
Your life
to
focus
me.
changes.
Exactly. You're well,
fuck it.
Girls are cool.
Yep.
So now we're going to talk about Joseph Risner. He's 20 years old at the time of this, the oldest of the group. He was born in Hazard, Kentucky, which I wonder is the Dukes of Hazzard. Hazard County. Joseph Risner.
Spelled like it too?
Yeah, Hazard. He never met his biological dad, and at around 2, he took his stepdad's name, Risner. He was a good student, normal kid, until his mom and stepdad separated because his stepdad was fucking his wife's best friend.
Wow.
which is fucking hard-bodied as hell, man. That's cool.
What?
That's baller, dude. Fuck it, dude. Whatever. Anyway, he took it pretty
Oh.
hard, obviously. Uh, he started experimenting with the dangerous weed. And
Oh, that is so dangerous.
yeah, and LSD. So we can't forget a little LSD in there.
I get it.
um, he claims when he was 12, he had sexual relationships with 2 of his babysitters, and then he failed 7th and 8th grade. So
That's kind of gross.
yeah, it's weird.
What a
I,
weird thing
like
to
I say, he
say.
claims, and
Yeah.
but like, I mean, when you're 12, it's not really a sexual relationship, right? That's like um bad area. That's I can't think of the right word. Like it's not. I don't know if I consider it molestation, but it's definitely not okay.
No.
um, yeah, it's kind of weird. There's a little bit of that in a couple of these stories, and it's interesting the way it's explained. Like this one, it's like he claims he had sexual relationships with 2 of his babysitters. It's like that's not okay if that's true, you know.
No.
Um, yeah. In 10th grade, his grades started to improve until he met his beautiful girlfriend, Karen Howell. He joined the Army in 1995, but got discharged for smoking weed. He got a GEW and his GEW. I wrote GEW, but a GED is what I meant to say. He got his GEW.
He just said it was like it was right.
I know. He got a GEW. My fucking stupid
I didn't
brain.
even catch it either.
He got his GED, and he was accepted to a Mayo Tech college. But let's get to his girlfriend, Karen Howell. She's 17. During the trial, she's kind of bad as fuck. So I'm just gonna drop that there.
Like she's a bad bitch.
Like, and when the trial's going on, she's over 18, so we're not to get
Mhm.
anything weird there. But she's bad. She's bad as hell.
Oh, is she the one you sent me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I
She's bad
agree.
as hell. Uh, Growing up, her parents would get into very violent fights often. And when she was 9, they got a divorce. And here's proof that this story was written probably back early 2000s, 90s, because on Wikipedia it said she was borderline R word with an IQ of 78. I'm not gonna say the R word, not gonna go there, but that's what it says on Wikipedia, like literally. Um,
Mhm,
she claims she was sexually abused between 5 and 10 by her uncle and cousin. I only say claims because that's what it said on Wikipedia, but that definitely happened. Why would she lie about that? Nobody fucking
mhm,
lies about that shit.
right.
So obviously it messed up her relationships. And at 13, she was self-harming. She lived with her mom until she was 14, and they fought a lot. She was a bit of a rebel. And it was said that she's not doing well in school, and she's dabbling with drugs. She was a runaway quite often, whatnot. Um, but another thing that developed was an interest in witchcraft.
Ooh, that's spicy. A
uh,
little satanic.
Little satanic. It started out with her messing with a Ouija board. Do you fuck with Ouija boards?
I really want to,
Yeah.
but I
I,
would never do it in my own home.
right. So something like I don't really believe in any of that stuff, but something about them makes me nervous for some reason. You know what I mean?
I really wanna use one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know my
Would you
sister.
would you use one though?
I don't know. I know my sister used one in the Velisca Axe murder house or whatever.
Mhm.
Is that how you say it, Velisca?
Yeah.
My sister used one in there, and they said they had some weird experiences. But again, I feel like you just get scared of the dark. I don't know. But like, I don't believe it. But then again, I'm still kind of scared to use it. You know?
Then maybe you should use one.
Maybe I have to.
Let's do it.
Let's just do it. Yeah. A
Yeah.
little bit of Ouija boards. You can buy them at Target. They can't be that bad.
I know, you can buy them at, like, those calendar stores in the mall, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're looking at. Oh my
They have them
god.
there.
Go get your 2023 calendar and a nice Ouija board.
Hell
Maybe.
yeah. Great combo.
Oh my god. So her mom found out about this and was worried, so she brought ministers in that tried to cast out her demons.
Wow.
Um, she claimed that she made love spells to get 2 boys to date her, and I guess she claimed to hear voices. So most of this just screamed like edgy teenager that had trauma type shit, like
Mhm.
nothing in this really screams like she's a menace to society. You know, like it's just
Right.
whatever. She started doing LSD, and there was a story that she had a bad trip, and she half-heartedly, isn't it haphazard? So she
I don't know.
half-heartedly tried to chew her friend's arm off. So
Oh,
um, that was just a story, and the word half-heartedly makes it sound like it was a joke. Like, nom, 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 come
makes it
here,
sound light,
come here. Not like she's like holding her down, trying to bite her fucking arm off. But
right?
anyway, you know how people would use that against her if they heard that story.
Mm-hmm.
It was also said that she tried to commit suicide 4 times, twice by self harm and twice by overdosing. She met Natasha and Joseph Risner when they were in school together. So next is Crystal Sturgill. She's 18. She's a pretty good student, but her grades started slipping, to which she blamed drugs and alcohol, as you do. She got a 28 on her ACT, which is fucking more than I got.
I don't remember what I got.
I got
That was long. That was
23.
too long ago.
Yeah, I mean, mine was longer, but I still remember mine. It was 23. I got
Wow.
23. But I got like a 28 in math, though, so whatever. So whatever. This girl's smarter than me. That's fine. I'm sure it was
It's
easier in
okay.
fucking 1997.
It probably was.
They didn't
I
expect a whole
mean, I'm
lot
just
out of them.
saying.
Um, yeah, so in 1996, she accused her stepfather of sexual abuse for years. It was when she was 4 until she was 13. Wasn't until she got a boyfriend that he stopped doing this. And this was like
Hmm.
full on sexual abuse. This was bad. This is really fucking bad. And I
I
say
hate it.
accused, but like this fucking
Yeah.
happened. There was fights between them, I guess, one point where like he was like saying it didn't happen or whatever, but this fucking happened. We're not we're not messing with the well, some people lie thing. We're
Mm-hmm.
not doing that here. And it was said that her family like really neglected her growing up. That was like kind of like a known thing that was happening. In her high school years, she lived around 13 different places estimated. So she was all over the fucking place. And she was friends with Dean Mullins and wasn't a fan of him being with Natasha. So lastly, the one we're going to talk about, this has been a lot of information, so I apologize for that. Um, I think as the story goes on, it gets easier to differentiate them. But Jason Bryant, he was the youngest of the bunch at 14 years old. He had an IQ of 85 and the emotional and social skills of an 11-year-old, which doesn't seem
Wow.
that far off. 14 to
No,
11, like,
but that's like high school though, like
yeah, you should
middle
probably,
school, high school age. So
yeah.
a little bit of a difference.
There's not a whole lot of information on him really, but he had a history of drug and alcohol abuse as early as the age of 3.
Excuse me?
Yeah, 3 years old. He's smoking joints
Getting
and
lit.
sipping liquor. Yeah, I don't understand that. Like you don't just you know what
He's
I mean?
getting lit at 3 years old,
He's at 3
turning
with a
up at
beer in his
night.
hand. Like, what the fuck?
He's smoking a joint.
Yeah, like what? He's 3 years old. How whatever. So that's what was said. That to me sounds um like the tough guys in high school that are like, "Yeah, I've been smoking since fucking 10 years old, man." It's like, "No, you fucking
I've been
haven't. Shut
smoking since I
up."
was 8.
Like, shut the fuck up. No, you haven't. Like you stole a cigarette from your parents one time, you fucking moron. So, he was a habitual runaway, and he had met Natasha on a street corner. She picked him up, and they got drunk. They kissed, and he spent the night.
Ooh,
Yeah.
they kissed?
She didn't find out he was 14 until afterwards. So,
Oh my god.
yeet, yeet.
Big yikes.
All right, so that's our background. Let's get into the actual story. Natasha had rented a room from a local economy lodging establishment, the Kali Motel, for the purposes of getting fucked up and getting high. The party got out of hand, and the next day they were fearing that there was going to be criminal charges for what they did to the room. They fucked this shit up. So instead of facing those consequences, they decided, let's leave town. We're out of here. We're starting a new fucking life. So they're gonna drive to New Orleans. Uh, so they got in Risner's car and left. And Risner's car was a piece of fucking trash. So
They thought they were gonna drive that long?
yes, they thought they were gonna drive
Oh,
whatever. It's probably not. I don't know. It's not that far from Kentucky. It's probably like 10 hours though. Still, but still,
that's
they're-
still a while though if you're
right,
driving a shit car.
right. And it was too small too. So they're all 6 of them packed into this little car. And it ran like shit. Um, One thing they did have though were guns and pocket change that they stole. They had a 9 millimeter
Ooh.
pistol, a 9
Pistol.
millimeter pistol. What the fuck is that? Pistol, and they had a
Are you
point two
okay?
five pistol. I
A
don't know what
pistol.
I don't know what the fuck that was. So they talked about stealing a car to make it the rest of the way there. They drove until they ended up at a rest stop along Interstate 81 outside of Baileyton, Tennessee. So this is where our paths cross between our main characters. The Lily Lids met these group of misfits. So the stories here are pretty up in the air. But let's just kind of start here.
Okay.
It's said that Vidar approached Natasha and Karen as they were at a picnic table, and he began to talk to them about his religious beliefs. Shortly after that, Joseph and Jason joined into their conversation. Joseph Risner showed Vidar's gun and said, "I hate to do this to you this way, but we're going to have to take you with us for your van." So they're on some hostage type shit right here. Um,
That's hard.
yeah. Vidar was obviously panicking, begging them to just like take my car, take my wallet, take everything. We're not going to call the police. Just please let us stay here. And they refused. They forced Vidar to drive, and Reisner sat in the passenger seat, holding a gun on him as they drove. So the Lily Lids drove with Reisner, Bryant, Howell, and Natasha Cornett. And then Dean Mullins and Crystal drove Risner's car following them. Obviously, the children were getting upset. This is a really scary situation, as you would expect.
Right?
So, Delphina, his wife, began to sing to them to try to keep them calm. But she was told to stop by Bryant. They get back onto the interstate. Risner made Vidar take the next exit. It was a small road called Payne Hollow Lane. They turned down a gravel road and drove to a secluded area. Reisner ordered them out of the car. I think it was Reisner. This is where it's up in the air. It's like we don't know who orders them out of the car or whatever. And they get lined up against the ditch. And they're lining up against a ditch. I don't want to forget that. We got the two parents, but we also have a 6-year-old girl and a 2-year-old boy lining up in the fucking ditch. It's fucked up. So again, the story's all over the place. But the older members all in the group all tell the same story. They said Bryant had ordered the car to stop. Risner said he couldn't handle it anymore and gave the 9mm to Natasha. She claimed to put the gun on the floor of the car. It said that Bryant ordered them out of the car and to go against the ditch, and they were all pleading for their lives, especially like their kids. Like, please let our kids go at least. They said we won't call the police, whatever. Natasha and Karen Howell were pleading to let them go. Bryant said no because they would call the police. And apparently, this is where Bryant had promised he wouldn't hurt the kids. So the girls went back to the van. And while they're in the van, the shooting begins. Some of them claimed Vidar was shot first, and others say his wife, Delphina, was shot first. But then the shooting stopped, and Bryant returned to the van and said, "They're still fucking alive," and grabbed the other gun, the 9mm. And he returned to them and shot them. So they claimed that he laughed about it and he was bragging about it. He would later say it was a rush and it gives you power. So
What a
really
piece of
fucked
shit.
up. Yeah. We'll get into more details shortly. But yeah, it's fucking heavy. They went to Risner's car that was also there. They took the license plate off the registration, which is so stupid because you can just look at the fucking VIN number, find out whose car it is. Risner would later say he accidentally struck one or more of the bodies when he was turning the van around, which is fucked up. Sturgill
I
and
don't like
Mullins.
that.
Yeah, me neither. Sturgill and Mullins were in Risner's car the whole time. Bryant would later testify that Risner was the one that ordered them out of the car and that he was the first one to shoot. And then he slapped Mullins on the shoulder, and then Mullins also shot at them. That was Bryant's story. Bryant claimed that he sat there and kept his eyes closed during the whole shooting, and he never even fired the gun. So let's get to the awful fucking details on this case. Yeah, strap in.
Is there a trigger warning? Should there be one or something?
If there is, I will say
Okay.
the I'll
I
make
didn't
sure
know
to
how
like
bad it gets.
it's pretty bad, but
Okay.
there's not a lot of like trigger words or anything. It's pretty
Okay.
but if there's a bad part, then I'll warn you before the
Okay.
children. I'll just say that.
Okay.
I'll warn the listeners before the children.
TY.
Yeah. Vidar had 6 gunshot wounds. One was on the right side of his head, and the other 5 were in his chest. First shot entered his right eye through his temple and then out his right ear. It was believed this was fired by a 9mm. So that kind of causes a bit of discrepancy with the stories because that's the first shot.
Mm-hmm.
He falls to the ground and he received 3 more shots to his upper chest. Again, those were believed to be 9mm, which was supposedly in the car at the beginning of that. They also showed that he was probably on his back during the chest shots. There was a shot below his chest that was consistent with a .25 caliber weapon, and there was one more 9mm shot below that one. So 5 of the 6 shots were probably by the 9mm weapon, which doesn't quite make sense unless with that first story, Bryant shot them all one time with a 25 and then went back and got the 9mm and shot them again, which did happen, but the first shot was a 9mm. So that doesn't really make sense.
No.
So let's go to Delphina. She was shot 8 times. 6 shots were from the 9mm and 2 from the 25. And they know that because they actually found the bullets for her. The first shot that hit her was a 9mm again. It hit her left arm and it shattered the bone. Second shot was from the 9mm and it shattered her thigh. These wounds would not have killed her. But as she laid on her back in pain, she received 6 more shots. First 3 of them hit the left side of her abdomen. The final 9mm shot was found near her belly button and it stuck into her vertebrae. There was a 125 shot under her left armpit and on her side, like on her side. And one of them, or there was 2 of those shots. Sorry, one of them ended up in her liver. It was said that she could have been alive for 25 minutes, even though she was driven over by the van when they backed up. Which I don't know. That's just so. It's just like
That
extra
is
fucked
awful
up.
and I hate it.
Like she was
It's
essentially
fucked.
tortured. She was
Yeah.
essentially fucking tortured.
Pretty much.
God.
For like no reason.
So we're gonna go to the children now. It's not. I mean, it's not like super extremely graphic. It's just really depressing. Tabitha, their 6-year-old daughter, she was shot once in the head by a small caliber weapon. And I'm not sure if that means the 9mm or the 25. The shot entered the left side of her head and exited through her right ear, causing brain death immediately, essentially ending the life of a 6-year-old girl. Although she was still alive, like her body was still alive. One day later, she would be removed from life support and her organs were donated to hopefully save some other lives.
Mm-hmm.
The sad part is she was found on her father's lap.
Why do you have to make me feel that way?
I know that really got me too. So let's go to 2-year-old Peter. Peter was shot with a small caliber weapon as well. Entered behind his right ear through his right eye. Second shot went through his body and his chest. Peter was alive. They found him cradled in his mom's lap.
Oh my god.
Oh, that makes me want to cry.
Why do you keep ripping my heart out like this?
I know. He lost his eye, but he has since actually made a full recovery. Last I knew, he was in college. So
Wow.
Peter survives this. All right, so we're through that. I feel nauseous.
Yeah, you kind of ruined my vibe.
I know, right? Like,
Yeah.
God, I like, I feel like it doesn't get worse than like murdering children.
Well, it's just stupid. Like they didn't have to.
That's my thing with this, is they didn't. So, regardless, say to get away with their crime, they had to kill like the parents, because they would know who they
Mhm.
are. A 6-year-old girl and a 2-year-old boy aren't gonna know shit. Like
No.
I'm
And if
not
they're gonna describe these people, they're gonna describe them like every other, like, young
exactly,
person out there.
exactly. And then they leave the fucking car. It's like, dude, like what?
Right.
I just it doesn't like click in my head. Like
No, I can't make it make sense. It
this,
hurts
like
my brain too much to think about it.
right. And I'm not like defending them and saying like, yeah,
Mhm.
it's a good thing you killed the adults. They would have caught you. It's like no, like
Mm-mm.
I don't know. They didn't have to kill a 6-year-old girl. Is what I'm saying. And they didn't have to shoot a fucking 2-year-old. It didn't
No.
have to happen. So someone that lived nearby heard the gunshots and thought they heard children playing on a playground, is what they described it as. They called 911 and they went to go check it out, to where they found a car with headlights on. That was Risner's car. They they found the crime scene at that point. This was 8:20 p.m. April 6th. So then the group, after they left, they drove the van to a gas station to get a map. Then in Georgia, they stopped at a Waffle House, which for some reason, when you like read these murders, like when they stop for food and shit, that always makes me feel so weird. Like,
Like, how are you hungry?
how are you eating? Yeah, how are you eating? Like, I have a bad day and I don't want to eat sometimes, you know?
Like, "Oh, I just killed someone, and I need to go get some Taco Bell right now.
Right,
Super
right.
hungry.
Yeah, like
I'm gonna get hangry."
yeah. It's
It's
like
weird.
I don't know, something about that always makes me feel really weird. Yeah,
But then again, we aren't like these people, so I don't think like them.
yeah,
Like, they probably feel completely normal. Like, "Don't just another day."
right. And I guess they do have to eat, but like whatever. While they're at the Waffle
No.
House, a group of cops arrived. Yeah. A group of cops arrived and then they panicked and left. So they decided that going to Mexico was the best option. So they got on the border in Arizona, actually.
Oh,
They
wow.
were denied at the border, but they would eventually find another way into Mexico, which I don't fucking know how they did that, but they got in there. So while in Mexico, Bryant was shot in the hand and his leg. And this is another confusing part because Bryant would claim that Risner wanted him to take the blame because he was a kid and that he would not get as much trouble. And then because he hesitated when he asked him, Risner shot him in the hand and the leg. But the others in the group say this shot was self-inflicted.
Hmm.
But in a detention facility, he told an inmate a different story. Originally, he told this inmate that he killed people because they were trying to kill him. He said he told this other person that the Lily Lids were trying to kill him, so he defended himself. The kid didn't believe him, so he pressed him. He would eventually admit to shooting himself in the hand and leg to try to prove that the Lily Lids were trying to attack him.
Okay.
I,
Like, weird flex, but okay.
yeah, these Jehovah's Witnesses attacked you.
Right.
Like
Maybe they
I'm not a
attacked them with the word of
right, yeah,
Jesus,
right,
but I doubt no.
right. I'm not a fan of of Jehovah's Witnesses as like as a religion, but
But I feel like most likely they're probably not gonna come up and attack you for no reason.
yeah, yeah. And I guess
Especially
based
like a family with children. What?
exactly, these people did nothing wrong. Like I know I shit talked to the religion at the beginning, but that's just it's just fun. It's just fun.
It's who you are as a person.
Right. I have no issue with them being a Jehovah's Witness. I'm sure that I know they were great people. I know that they were nice people.
Mhm.
I have a problem with organized religion in that way.
Mhm.
But I don't have a problem with them doing it if that makes sense. Like I just want to make it clear that I have no like shade on them for that. I just thought it was interesting to talk about.
Same.
Um, they were great people and they did not deserve this to happen. And these fucking Jehovah's Witnesses are not gonna fucking attack six kids. Even if they believed they were Satanists, they wouldn't do that. Like,
Right.
I don't know. The group was stopped by authorities in Mexico and they told them that they were lost. But the police did a search of their van and they found a knife and a photo album that obviously didn't belong to them. So they were forced to drive to the border where the US police took them to jail in Arizona. So legal shit, blah, 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 whatever. They were sent back to Tennessee and charges were filed on them for the murders. Um, prosecutors wanted the death penalty, but Bryant and Karen Howell were minors, so they weren't seeking the death penalty for them. So to avoid the death penalty, they all pled guilty to 3 counts of murder, and then I think 1 count of attempted murder. But the thing that was really fucked about that is, in order for that deal to happen, they all 6 had to agree to plead guilty to it.
Really?
So even if there were like there's like 3, possibly 4. Mullins is on the fence in my head, but there's 3
Mhm.
of them that easily could have pled not guilty. You know, like the
Right.
U.S. does have like that guilty by association type shit, but
Mhm.
like Karen Howell, Natasha Cornett, and I'm blanking on the last dude's name, but um, they definitely had the guy that was in the car the whole time. I can't remember his name.
I
Jason, I
don't
think
either.
maybe I don't remember.
Maybe.
They definitely had an argument to do not guilty or whatever the things were, but their friends, some of their boyfriends, they would receive they were going to be up for the death penalty if they all didn't agree to this.
Mhm.
Which there's something fucked up there.
Yes, I agree.
So they all receive life in prison. The same counts for all of them. Which I don't know. This doesn't sit right with me. Um, to put it on them and be like, hey, like if you don't agree to this, all like your friends are gonna get the death penalty, and they're fucking young impressionable kids. Like,
Yeah, it's kinda messed up, but feel
yeah,
like they're all kinda guilty in some way, but it's a weird way
exactly,
of doing that.
exactly. And then again, I don't want it to sound like I'm defending them in any way.
Right.
I'm not
Right.
defending the people that shot them. I'm saying that
Sometimes the laws don't make sense.
right.
The justice system doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make fucking any sense. But
Mm-mm.
like, I'm not sure I'm trying to say this without sounding like a fucking piece of shit. I think
Oh my
there's
god.
I think some of the people involved, there's arguments for them to not receive life in prison. Imagine you're put in the situation, you think you're running away, you think you're gonna steal a vehicle, you think whatever,
Mhm.
and then somebody gets the idea to kill somebody, and then you're with them, and then like what like so say you are a bystander for the situation. What do they expect you to do?
That would
Do
be a
they
really hard decision.
right. Do
Like,
you
especially if I'm not the one that killed them, I was just with
You're just
them.
there, exactly.
Yeah.
You're already like everybody we've talked about had some sort of like troubled past. Like
Right.
you're not going to trust authority. You're not going to trust the system to work because the
Right.
system doesn't work. Like
Well, it's like you
it's a
have 2
fact.
choices. You either run with the people that you're with or go back home to where your home life really sucks.
Yeah, and probably get arrested both of them.
Right. Right.
So like the big thing in their trials that I saw was everybody being like, well, they knew that this was happening. Like they knew they didn't stop it. They, like all that. It's like, what do you fucking think they're gonna, what do you think they're gonna try to stop this as a fucking 17-year-old girl? Like, I don't know.
I can't
It's,
make it make sense.
it's complicated. It's very fucking complicated.
Mhm.
And I completely lost. Okay. So let's get into the Satanism part of this story. Um, Natasha was coached. She claims she was coached to say she was the daughter of Satan in trial. I think they wanted to create some sort of distraction.
That kinda goes hard, though.
Yeah, I'm the daughter of Satan.
Mhm.
um, she also denies that her 10-month lasting wedding that she had was satanic. But the couple
Okay.
dressed up in gothic clothing and the maids of honor were chained together.
What is gothic clothing, though, for, like, a wedding? Black?
They're in trip pants.
Oh, shut the fuck up. They
They're
had
in
their
trip pants and
chains, too.
chains.
Studded belts.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm sure that's what they were doing. But it said that also the maids of honor were chained together. And this was used to say this was a satanic fucking group of people.
Oh, just let them be weird.
I'm like, whatever. It's whatever. So there are rumors that they were all involved in Satanism as well and the occult. The person that found the crime scene said something has gone really, really wrong. I don't see any of these children committing murder in their right mind. So that person believes that it was Satan. So yeah, Natasha would claim that Karen was her soulmate. During her out-of-body experiences, she would be able to communicate with her.
Oh,
She said that the night before the murders, they self-harmed and drank each other's blood. So that's a
wow. I
little
do that with
weird.
my friends all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it a couple times. I mean, as a Satanist, you have to a little bit.
Obviously.
um, so Natasha and Karen Howell were the only ones that were really interested in the occult, but they didn't have much to do with these murders. Like
Hmm.
Karen helped plan the trip, like they're leaving, but she didn't plan to kill people. Like,
Right.
so the only people that were this was made into like a satanic panic case, but the only people that were, even in that realm didn't really do anything. As far as
Or
my
they're gonna
beliefs
grab
go.
anything that they can if it's satanic.
Yeah, exactly. The fucking morons. Uh the DA believed that they set the bodies up in the shape of a cross, but that is cap as fuck. I believe the link to Satanism in this case is just like the ignorance to, like darker subjects. Like they're into
Right.
goth stuff, they're into weird witchcraft stuff. Like it's in the media, negativity is Satanism. Like you
I know.
view evil as Satanism. So that's
Anything dark they consider
exactly.
Satanism.
And I think that's what
Dark
this case.
eyeliner, that
Yeah,
could be
exactly.
satanic. Like people look at me strange.
Yeah, my tattoos, they could be considered satanic.
Yep.
Um so uh it was also said that it was possible they were inspired by the movie Natural Born Killers, which is basically two teenagers that ran away and fall in love and then become mass murderers.
Oh,
Although that isn't confirmed and it's more just satanic panic shit media wise. Um, in the movie, there are triangles involved, I guess, and the prosecutors tried to say that the gunshots were in fucking triangles, but that seems bullshit as fuck too, you know?
they're really reaching.
Right.
Wow. They're just grabbing at anything they can.
Yeah, they shot triangles in them. I like intentionally left that out in when I was describing shit because I was like, there's no way they fucking shot him in triangles. Like,
Right.
no, that didn't happen.
Hmm.
So in 2001, Natasha Cornett was with a death row inmate named Krista Pike, and she attacked her. They attacked another prisoner and tried strangling that prisoner with a shoelace, which is really interesting. There's no really
Wow.
real evidence that Cornett was involved, but she was alleged to do that. Uh, Krista Pike was the youngest woman to be sentenced to death. Her story's pretty fucked up, and I think I'm going to do that case next week. I think that's a good
All
idea
right.
because there's a little bit of a satanic angle on that one.
All
So,
right.
so I have a note from Karen Howell trying to get paroled. This is kind of long, so strap in. I'm going to get through it. We'll get through it. This is really interesting to hear her perspective of it.
Okay, I'm strapped in.
We were not a cult. None of us even hung out as a group. I knew Dean Mullins from school. We were cool, but we never just hung out together. Natasha and I were good friends and hung out every so often on the weekends, but I stay busy working and she had what was going on in her personal life. I dated Joe for about a month, but he lived far away and we only hung out every so often as well. I knew Crystal from school, but not well. I'd only met Jason Bryant a day or two prior to the crime through Natasha. I knew he was off and he portrayed himself to be big and bad from the jump, mostly because he had some obsession with wanting to impress Natasha. He claimed to be 17, but he was actually 14. I had no idea that he had a violent past and found out later that he'd pushed someone down a flight of stairs, amongst other things. So, no, we were never a cult. There were no satanic rituals performed over bodies. There was no moving of the bodies into a shape of a cross. How the DA got that one, I'll never know. There was no taking turns shooting that poor family. All of it was done by Jason Bryant alone. When my clothes were tested at the lab, I had no gunshot residue or blood from the victims on my clothing. All lies heaped upon an already tragic happening to hype it more. So, like anyone else, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. The biggest and final one was when I ran away from home with 5 other people in April of 1997. If I had known that there was going to be a murder or death in any way, I would have never left home. I may have been a troubled kid, but anyone who knew me could tell you that I was no killer, especially not a child killer. But I didn't do anything about the robbery or kidnapping, which has haunted my heart and mind since that day. Joe Risner, who was my boyfriend at the time, had a car that was in no condition for us to get to our destination. After several unsuccessful attempts by Jason to hotwire a car for us, there began to be a discussion among them about robbing someone for theirs. Later that day at the rest stop, it actually started to happen. I just went along with it, not dreaming anyone would actually get hurt, much less killed. It was a moment in time that would forever change my life. Getting back to what happened, there is no need to rehash the kidnapping, as that's one of the few things that actually got right in telling the story. Joe pulled out the gun and kidnapped the family, promising they would not be hurt. As we drove along, Jason became more and more vocal about things, telling little Tabitha to shut the fuck up when she began crying, etc. It's after we arrived at Payne Hollow Road that the story starts to get twisted in the media telling of the tale. First off, Jason Bryant had bought a bag of weed earlier that day and had been smoking quite a bit. Pot makes certain personality types very paranoid, and Jason was one of those types and acted out of paranoia. He freaked out and said there was no reason with him, and there was no reason with him in that state of mind. He was on probation, and it was stuck in his head that the lily lids would identify him and he would get busted. That was his words. He kept repeating that over and over. His anger escalating, and he became very manic. I told everyone that we should just leave them alone and just go. Natasha actually stood in between him and the family and tried to make him stop, but he was not listening at all. So she started trying to negotiate with him and trying to make him promise to at least spare the children. He agreed, but when she stepped away, he began shooting. After I heard the first shot, I froze. It was as if fear completely seized me. I was there, but it felt like I left my body. It's a feeling that is hard to describe in words. The only thing I kept saying to myself was, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." Totally shut down. I had done this many times before when confronted by stresses in life. It was how I coped. But this was different. It was a total shutdown. I have never witnessed this kind of violence before, just on TV. Looking back, that would have shocked even a normal kid. But for me, it was beyond shock. I can only describe it that from that point on, it felt like I was wearing a bag over my head with no holes. I couldn't process my thoughts. I had witnessed the worst nightmare imaginable. My recollection of some things is hazy due to the mental block. But I do recall seeing Crystal Sturgill covering her face and Dean Mullins ducking his head down in the car, which both were still in. Not so long after that happened, Jason started making threats to kill them both, all because he didn't like them. Jason Bryant was the one I was thinking about earlier when I was saying the thing. It was Jason Bryant. I was trying to think of Dean Mullins. Anyway,
It's okay.
he started making threats to kill them both, all because he didn't like them. Fast forward to April 8th, 2 days later. Jason is sitting behind me in the van reloading the gun. I don't know why he was reloading it, but it was chilling to think who those blows were meant for, and what would have happened had he not shot himself in the leg. Anyway, the gun went off. It was so loud and so close to me that I thought I had been shot in the back of the head. My head felt tight, my ears were numb, and all I could hear was loud ringing. All I could do was yell that I had been shot and that I was feeling myself all over my head. The moment I had realized that I hadn't been shot, I felt relief mixed with disappointment. It felt like a roller coaster ride of madness and insanity, and I wanted it to end. And that day, it did end when we all got arrested. Later on, when I started hearing a lot of the crazy things people in the media were saying about my case, it was a ritual satanic cult killing. They were on a rampage inspired by the movie Natural Born Killers. They kept trophies from their victims, etc. I was shocked. I wasn't some Satanist nor a murderer. That wasn't the whole text, but I wasn't going to read
Mhm.
another fucking 5 paragraphs of that. This
Right.
was the only that was the retelling of the story, which I thought was really interesting.
Mhm.
And for some reason, I fully believe it. I believe that's what happened. Um, but I do believe that this case was mainly Jason Bryant and Joe Risner. I do think the others should be punished, but I don't think they should
Right.
still be in jail. They
No.
were troubled kids, and those two escalated the situation. Like, I don't know what a normal troubled kid would do in that situation. Like, you trust the cops? Do you like trust the cops like for the first time in your life right there?
No.
No.
It's a no for me, dog.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I do think that they were down to steal a car. I think they were all down to steal a car. They wanted to go, whatever, but I don't think all of them are planning to murder.
I mean, it doesn't sound like it.
There's a podcast right now called The Devil Came Knocking that's deep diving this case. I don't know anything
Oh, for
about it. I
real?
don't know if it's good.
Huh.
Or like the cover art was pretty bad, but
Are you judging?
yeah, I know. I mean, sometimes that you can tell what the quality of a podcast is going to be based on what they use for the cover art.
For
But
sure.
they did do some interviews with some interesting people,
Hmm.
like some people that were in jail with some of them, and
Oh, really?
yeah, there's a lot of groups that are trying to get like Karen Howell and Natasha get them to go free.
Right.
Pretty much everybody besides Jason Bryant and Joe Risner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's one other element of this case that's makes you like think a little bit. Like I do think that's what happened, but it is possible that Jason Bryant, like because he was the young one and he was the one that none of them really knew, that they kind of scapegoated him. You know,
Right.
like they were like, hey, we don't really
Well, he
know
was
this
only
guy. So let's
14,
right. He was the
wasn't he?
youngest one. Yeah, he was the
Yeah.
youngest one. So they could have all banded together to try to get it to be him. But he did have gunshot residue all over him. Like
Mm-hmm.
he admitted to this like a lot of times in jail. Like I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. But yeah, that's the case.
Well, that was a wild one.
It's a fucked up one, man.
Well,
Like
yeah.
it's cool that Peter's still alive, like and thriving. It really fucking sucks.
It's just depressing.
Right, a 6-year-old girl.
Well, his whole family's gone and he doesn't have an eye.
That too. I think he relocated back to not back to, but like he had some family, like his dad's family, I believe, in Norway. I think that's where he went.
For sure. I wouldn't want to stay.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't either.
Mm-mm.
God, that's so fucking sad.
Right.
Oh my god.
Depressing as fuck.
I know. Hopefully next week won't be as
Thanks
depressing.
for ruining my day, Joe.
Right. I don't like
I was
doing
having a good 420.
yeah, right. I don't like having I don't like cases that involve children, but I guess it's meant to be. Yeah, it's gotta be told.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that fucking half those people should probably go free by now. It's been 20
Yeah.
some years. They're like
I
in their
agree.
late 30s. As long as they're, I think there should be a chance for them to get out. Besides I don't know about Jason Bryant for sure shouldn't. Like I'm 100% convinced he did something, and Joe Risner's like a wild card to me. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I don't know. Anything else you want to say on this case?
I think you told it all.
I know. I'm a piece of shit.
Oh, shut up.
All right. Well, if you're still here, please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or a like
Please.
on whatever. It really helps algorithms if we get likes and 5 stars and shares. Shares are a big one. If you share the episode directly from your preferred podcast application. I don't know what the fuck. I couldn't find the word there. That was weird. So yeah, we'll be back next week. This is a weekly podcast, as I hadn't said the whole time, but it is a weekly podcast.
Yep.
And
what day of the week? I don't know.
yeah, we don't want to set a day of the week. We don't want any restriction.
It's weekly though.
It's a weekly podcast.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, this was so-called Satanism, baby. We'll see you next week.
Yep. See ya.
What's happening to our soul? What's happening to your soul? And are there influences trying to steal your soul?